God, are you live right now?
I'm live right now, and we're over at the Capitol just sitting for our debrief with Camera Cammy. And Cammy, what did you do today?
Long day. I was in the courthouse again for the federal hearing on the 3 officers in the Floyd case. Seems like a long day.
Yeah, so you had an opportunity to review part of the videos from the other regular media, like, for example, Channel 5.
Yeah.
You got to see what they had to say about stuff from yesterday.
Yeah, and I think they've been pretty accurate too. The same stuff I've been seeing in the courtroom, but not in the courtroom, but there, watching it there. Because there's a certain amount of people that's actually in the courtroom, but I'm in the media room.
Well, you float around.
I float around, floater. I go in the public, overflow room too. So I like to be in both rooms, and chit chat.
And see, a lot of times when you're getting chit chat and you're moving around and you're seeing stuff, you're seeing a lot of stuff they don't talk about.
Yeah.
And I know that's kind of what our story is about the story about the media and the story about whether or not the court is being fair and whether or not the officers are being treated fairly and whether or not justice is coming for the Floyd family, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's the whole idea of court.
Yeah.
And we're paying attention not so much just to the media technicalities and stuff as we're looking at the whole process and whether or not the media are being treated fairly, whether or not you're being treated fairly as a person who's going in there. So how have you been getting treated recently? Are you being treated fair and
I've been being treated fair,
respectfully?
Yep.
So they're not treating.
I say hi to everyone. When we chit chat, even with our security, when I walk through, they're nice and friendly.
Yep. So you're not having any problems with being mistreated or treated like a second-class person or anything like that.
Nope. I'm being treated fairly.
Treating like a colleague. Yeah. And one of the things that you focus more on is doing videography and photography.
Yeah.
So you're more of a videographer and a photographer, and you're not so much a traditional media person that does court reporting necessarily. That's not the thing you normally do. So you're
I'm out of my comfort zone because I have to take notes instead of using my camera. I can't use my camera, and I have to take notes, writing things down, and that can be exhausting every day because there's a lot of detail. I know I don't get everything because and I can't tell the judge, wait, stop, so I try and get the most important things down. I don't try and get every word down, but I try and get write the keynotes down. So it's a lot. I'm out of my comfort zone. I miss my camera.
Yeah, because you like to have your camera do a lot of the work and stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you think the trial has been as far as the officers go? Do you think it's being fair for the officers, the 3 officers?
I hope so. I pray every day that the truth comes out and all the families get closure with the truth, being revealed. I mean, it's fair that all the families get some kind of closure and peace out of this.
So how do you think about the justice for the Floyd family as well? Because the George Floyd passed away, so we're looking for fair treatment for the 3 accused officers, but also for appropriate treatment and justice for the victim, right? Yeah. So there was a person who died.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
So how do you think they're being fair and balancing that, the interests of the 3 accused as well as the interests of the victims?
I think they're really asking valid questions, really getting down to details on, when CPR should have been, done, and, when they got them handcuffed, they should have did the rollover, instead of keeping them there. I think they're really being detailed, and they're really being questioning the witness about details and, whether or not, the officers did their training or not. And I was impressed. They were really pushing, questions on, the time lengths about whether or not from the moment they were trying to get him in the car to the ambulance. They're really pinpointing, questioning and pinpointing details on whether or not CPS should have been done and whether the officers did their training, So they've really been detailed.
Well, one of the things is they're basically accusing the officers of misdemeanors of denying civil rights
Yeah.
to Floyd, and then they're also pointing out that this led to his death. Whether he died from the asphyxiation or whether he died from the drugs or whatever the cause of death.
Mm-hmm.
They keep talking about that with the medical people, and that's kind of technical, but they keep talking about how he died and whether he died right there on the spot or whether he could have been saved based on if actions had been taken that
sooner.
yeah. And the training called for when a person who's like George Floyd was unconscious and no longer resisting to be put on their side so that they can recover. That's part of the training, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also talked about there was also people like that firefighter that showed up who was there to render aid and help. And basically the deal is there's a lot of people, a lot of kind of prima facie on the face of it. It appears that Floyd might not have died if they had followed their training appropriately.
That's what they're saying. Yeah, that's what they're saying. That's why they go through the details of the policy over and over in a courtroom because they want to let everyone know that this is what the officers are trained on. That's why they've been really talking about excited delirium or asphyxia, but it's really been based on excited delirium. So they go through all the policies they show that the officers took all these courses on the policies. They had all this training and everything, so the officers know what they're trained on. So was it enough what the officers did, or was it not enough? They were really basing the questions on that. And they're saying, well, Lane did this. Lane said, hey, I think we should roll him over. And Lane was there in the ambulance, showed that Lane did something, they're really going in detail, was it enough? When should they have did it sooner, or was it soon enough? And really detailed, I noticed.
Yeah, there was 4 officers on site. There was 2 rookies that showed up first, so they were technically the ones in charge. But
which I understand, yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is, of course, these senior level guys consider themselves in charge, and these rookies who possibly had better training and more recent training, more up-to-date training, were trying to get the older, more senior officers to behave more appropriately, but they didn't. And there's an argument that the younger officers didn't sufficiently use their authority to get these other officers to do what they should have done.
Yeah, because they mentioned Shavin being what was that? How many year vet was he?
19.
19, yes. They mentioned him being a 19-year vet, and they mentioned that he was, but as I understand it, the 2 officers, Lane and King, were the first one on the scene. So I understand it was their scene, they were in charge, but it seemed like when Shavin showed up, he had taken over that scene.
Because he's a senior guy.
Yes.
Even though he's the same kind of rank, he was a patrol officer.
Yes, because the cam body even showed that, the body camera showed that King and Laney were saying, hey, I rolled down the windows, or I'll sit in the car with you, whatever. They're trying to improvise that right word to help him get him in the car to, they're trying to help with his medical needs. So it showed that.
They were trying to be accommodating.
Yes,
accommodating,
yes.
And trying to help and
Yeah.
trying to render aid and stuff.
Yeah.
And it didn't happen.
No.
Now, whose fault is it? And now the jury has to decide, and this is the really confusing thing, is there's 3 of them. Which one did what, and how responsible are they, of the various crimes that they're being accused of?
Yeah, because I know they showed more Lane's training. They showed some of King's training today. So they're kind of touching on King's training. They've been really detailed on, you know, the training and the policies, and, you know, was it enough what Lane did? Was it enough what the officers did? So they've been really detailed on that. So.
You know, one of the things that the judge does is comes out and says that the judge says that they're going to give the jury the instructions on law, basically tell them what the law is and instructions and what they have to decide. Do you think that the jury understands what they're having to evaluate and what they're having to watch?
I think so.
So you think so?
Yeah,
I
think the jury is. I would not want to be a jury. They have a lot on their hands and a lot of details, and
yeah,
they make one wrong move, and this is hard. This is hard.
It's hard. Somebody died,
Yeah.
but there's also 3 lives. You know, the 3 officers' lives at stake too.
Yeah.
So, but it's all about fairness. You can't things like killing somebody is not okay. And now who did it and why it happened and what level of responsibility the 3 officers have for it it's a tough one. And we haven't really seen the defense yet, right?
Not yet, no.
We're still in the prosecution, and the whole thing is supposed to wrap in about a week, right?
I think so. I don't remember.
So basically the prosecution is like 3/4 of it.
Yeah.
Like 3 weeks of it at the prosecution and only 1 week of the defense.
But they are questioning. I know they're really been talking about the excited delirium. They in the time frame between getting him in the backseat of the car and the handcuff part and rolling him over and the ambulance part. They've been really fixating on that and questioning that.
So if you were on the jury, not that you're on the jury, but if you were just guessing, where do you think those 3 officers would be sitting right now? King, Lane, and Tua.
I'm not sure.
Do you think they're looking like they're guilty and they're going to go down for the charge? Do you think they're going to look like they're going to go innocent? Where do you think they're sitting?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I feel like I still don't have enough detail because we haven't heard from the other witnesses. I'm not sure.
So do you think
this is hard?
Do you think the jury's like you and not sure yet, and they're still leaving it open, or do you think the jury?
I think the jury is not sure. I think there's more stuff from other witnesses that they haven't seen yet. I think they're not sure.
All right. Thanks for your insight, Cammie. You're doing great. Lots of people are super proud of you.
I hope so.
Yeah, me and Diana especially. So, all right. Thank you very much.